Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. And recently I did a video on these VORSK VM AR mags, and I'm being told now that I shouldn't have these, but here we go, I've got them. I didn't get these through nefarious means, I just know where to shop. And it sparked a bit of debate in the Jaeger Precision Discord, and it's all well intentioned, I understand that, but you know, I'm always welcome to a debate on this stuff. I'll always debate it with people. Difference of opinion, that's fine. I'll never think less of someone for having a different opinion to mine, and I hope they do the same, because you know, I don't think less of anybody for that. It's just my calculations, my opinions may be different, and that's absolutely fine. I do these videos so you can make your own judgment. I never say that you need to agree with me. I'm just saying here are the brass facts. So we're going to take a look inside one of these things today, because I'm kind of being told that these are old versions of the magazines. And I have a background in manufacturing. I've been doing it for many years now through Jaeger Precision, and I don't agree with that. I don't think it makes sense that this would be a pre-production magazine. You're not going to go through all the hassle to produce this magazine, get it consumer ready, putting it in retail packaging to then go, no, scrap that, and that stock still ends up on the market. I'm not buying that unless I see proof. So if someone shows me proof, you know, distinguishable differences from this and a later magazine that comes out. Now, I have been discussing it with Saber Techworks. He has his own YouTube channel, and we're on two sides of the table here debating about this, but just chatting with him, he said, well, you've got the old casings, but the problem is, again, another nail in the coffin there. That don't make any difference to me, because a plastic sleeve is a plastic sleeve. And when I purchased these, not only could I get them in this configuration here, I could also get it in this configuration here, and I'll put it up on screen. So it makes no difference. Those uglier casings, which are deemed the newer casings, that look crap, but are available at the same time of these. So saying that that is the newer one, this is the old one, it don't make sense. So we're going to take a look inside this thing today, and who knows, maybe I'll be proven right or wrong in a later date. Now, if I am wrong, I will always, like I say, I always put my hands up and go, yeah, you were right. I would love nothing more for this to be an older version and them work better. So the one thing I want to show you first is that you've got the outer casings like this. You push this button, this bottom piece actually holds the magazines in place. So you've got, like, if I can try and do this now, you've got like a little lip like that there, see it? And this locking in place holds that in. So you pop that base plate off, and the magazine in a casing is gonna look weird, which is the first thing I noticed. So it looks weird, doesn't it? And I couldn't wrap my head around why it was like this. And it's actually the one positive thing that I'll say about these magazines is they've changed the mag to look weird like this, because it's stepped out at the bottom here, so it gets slimmer as it comes down, which from a gas capacity standpoint makes no sense. However, they've done this to make the BB feed a completely straight line. So all the other MWS types of magazines, your BB feed comes down and it wraps around this bend. Now, interesting that they've done it that way to keep the BB feed straight. Maybe in their tests it feeds better like that. I've never had a problem with MWS style magazines feeding because they've got this curve in there, but you know, that's a difference there. So we'll be taking a look at it. So I'm going to get rid of the gas out of this mag. So let's dump that. So it's plenty of gas there. Just get rid of the frost there. And we can take a look at this thing. So I'm thinking it's going to come apart pretty easy. So we've got pins at the bottom here. These two pins hold the BB track in. What is weird is that you've got an opening there to fill it from the bottom, which doesn't make any sense to me, because that is blocked by the magazine. And these magazines, credit where credit is due, these magazines fill from the top really easy. So that's not really needed. Maybe if you was to see, even if you was to drill a hole to do it like that, you can't do it, because you have to open this up and you have to pull this feed down. So it does have a little stepper on that follower, so you can get a nail on it and pull it down, but honestly it's kind of irrelevant. It's not really needed. So let's take a look at this thing. So we've got a huge bolt that goes down the bottom, which is probably going to run all the way up to here, but that's obviously not going to come off, so we need to tap these pins out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap this pin and this pin out, and then hopefully we can get this thing rocking. So we grab a hammer. I've actually got one to hand for once, and let's see if we've got a pin punch. I might just use this screwdriver, to be honest. That'll do. One there. One there. So we can pull. I just want to be careful here that nothing shoots out like that. Little spring. So it probably would be beneficial to remove both those pins, because that spring's going to go in pretty straight. So what I'll do, before I remove that, let's tap that other pin out. They're not in all that tight, to be honest. Push the other one out so we can push that piece back in straight when we put it back together. There we go. And we can pull this pin out up here at the top, and then we should be able, depending on how this, oh yeah, so it actually encapsulates the spring, but we can't actually, might have to pull that down. So pull that down, that comes off the front like that. We can release the tension in the spring like so, and that separates two halves. So then we've got this big bolt on the bottom. Now I'm hoping I've got the correct size here. 4mm Allen key. I was just curious to see what's going on inside. So when these do hit the shelves here in the UK, I'm sure someone else will do the same and go, yeah, my newer version of it supposedly is exactly the same as this one. So you've got a huge bolt, and then we can slide this off. So the good thing about that design is, so very rarely have I had MWS mags leak from that seal. It's probably happened to me over the years and years. I've had MWSs like maybe 2 or 3 times, and it's just where the gasket dries out. So, you know, you pull this off, you grease the gasket back up, you put it back together, it's held in by the 2 pins, and usually it's fixed. The plus side to having a screw design like this is that, let's say this is together and you've got a slow leak from here, what you can do is, let's say this is screwed in like so. So over time, maybe this is just, the screws worked its way out ever so slightly. You know, this goes back to like the WE Glock mags and the Maru Glock mags before they changed it. So let's say you've got a small leak from there. What you can do is just nip that screw up a little bit tighter, and it will compress that seal. So that's actually good. Again, I'm not out to get VORSK at all. I'm just an avid, obsessive airsofter like yourselves, and I've said this about many products, and people don't always believe me. I would love nothing more than to have got these mags, and they performed fantastic. Yeah, they weigh a lot. And one of the comments was, the creative lead at VORSK is a milsimmer. To which, you know, 600 grams is not an accurate weight of a loaded 5.56 magazine. And also, you look at the wacky designs that VORSK do, it doesn't really give off milsimmer vibes, does it? But each to their own. So, we've got the top part of it here. Let's take a look. So, we've got two 2mm Allen key countersunk screws at the top here. So this is all, the feed lip and everything is all the same piece here. Now, what I will say about VORSK as well, because I'll always, you know, give them credit where it's due, is a lot of their guns, like the VMP1 and VMP2s, one thing that they do very well is they make spare parts available. Don't Don't get me wrong, guys, it's not like I've done the first video and I've been contacted by VORSK and now I'm saying good stuff about them. That's not the case. I've got no affiliation with them. So it looks like that rear screw is longer to hold that back piece in. It's just, you know, getting VMP1 parts, and I've known people have problems with the VMP1s and VMP2s, which is another subject, but getting spares is usually pretty easy, which is always good, which isn't, it's not always like that with MWS parts. So we do have a pin hidden behind this lever, so we might actually be able to lift that up there and just push that out. Maybe not, might have to tap it. Let's give this a tap. But yeah, until I see proof that these are old magazines, I'm just not accepting that answer. Here's a gas routers. So you can see here that lip, which is very odd. Again, if you've designed this part, you've CAD'd this part, you're going to injection mold it for all your magazines, for your new gun that's coming out. Why in CAD would you not, you know, fill it or chamfer all these harsh angles to improve gas flow? It just seems it's just beyond me. It's like it's either bad planning or bad design. You know, simple changes like that could improve the system, and this is restrictive again. Remember, compared to a Marui, the output is much smaller. But these parts, you know, they're going to make these available, and they should be easy to get hold of. So yeah, you've got a valve where they're split in two, so sometimes you can angle these. Now I don't know where my valve key is. I had it the other day, and I think I let someone borrow it, and then I have no idea where it is. So unfortunately for that one, I'm not going to be able to remove the outlet valve. That's the wrong tool. What am I doing? So we might be able to remove the inlet valve with a flathead. We've got one here. It's no drama. I didn't really plan on stripping this thing down all the way. I just wanted to have a look inside what was going on. So we've got an inlet valve. We've got an outlet valve. Pretty easy to maintain. I'm sure maybe moving this outlet valve, just canting it like the extra 90 degrees is going to improve gas flow. It's not that it needed gas flow. It was just, yeah, it was spitting a hell of a lot. So let's pop this together because we're going to test some of the bits. Pop this lever on. I think that's the wrong way around. Pop this lever in. It actually just sits loose and is clamped together by the metal and the plastic. So we push that down like that. Take that pin. Which one was it? Was it that one? Or was it that one? I think it was this one. I don't think it really matters as long as it's the right size and length. Yeah, it's not sticking out, so that pin is good to go. Make sure that's seated, which it is. Doesn't restrict it. No, it doesn't. And then we've got to remember to put the little valve spacer back in. So you've got two sides to this. So you've got a rounded side, and then you've got an elongated rounded side. So the elongated rounded side sits in the back like that, as you'll see on all these other style mags. They're very much the same. Take the long screw, that'll obviously screw in through that spacer and hold it in place. So we'll spin that screw in. It's got a much longer thread on it. Shorter one goes in the front like that. Dead simple, and you could, you know, put your grease and stuff on here if you wanted to. I've got some here. Let's put a little bit on. I am changing soon my bench setup. It's going to take a bit of time, which is why everything's remained a mess, because we're going to be switching it up soon, and I think you guys are going to like what we've got planned. So we take that, we put the bottom half on, we put our big M4 screw, M4, not M4 screw, but it's a 4mm Allen key, that's what I mean. I'm sure this is probably like an M5. So screw this in, nip that down, don't want to go too tight. We take our BB track, so they've kind of like, VORSK have kind of had some good ideas here. The intent is there, it's just the execution maybe not so good. So, which is a shame. I mean, you can tell, you really can tell that these magazines are made for a price. I know I've seen interviews where they're saying they're going to be well priced at like $49.99, which if you can get a double eagle Stanag for $59.99, I'd rather spend the extra and get a double eagle one. Which, if you hadn't noticed, we'd started stocking on the Agri Precision store. So I put a bunch of double eagle Stanag mags, which are the best magazines that double eagle do, same as the Salvo ones, up on the Agri Precision store, and they flew out. I think there's, at this point of me speaking, I think there's like one left, but don't fret because I've got more on the way. So we'll have more for you. And still, I think if you're not buying TM MWS mags, I think the DE Stanags are perhaps the ones to go for. Now, there are other good magazines. It's just like the GMP mags. Let me get this pin tapped in first. The GMP mags, the version 1s, these ones are still the GOAT. They just perform. The version 1s had an issue where they had a leaky base plate, which they fixed. You could just buy this retro upgrade kit, and they've been solid. Version 2s are fine. Version 3s, they're okay. Version 4s, I mean, same as these Strike mags, they're based on the version 4 infrastructure. Even though they say version 1, it's just that they're okay. They're not great. Right, let's sit this in. So we pop that in there. Whack that back on. We're just going to test it for leaks, so we'll put a bit of gas in it. That's good to go. We'll purge the air a little bit. And then just pinch that up ever so slightly. And there we go. So I presume these short mags, it would make sense that all the top part of the magazine is the same and you just change the shell and the bottom half. So all this is going to be the same here, just a much shorter gas capacity. The geometry of the mag at the bottom is going to change a little bit because as this moves down, it's going to change where the head of the screw is. So the head of the screw is further forward. But for the most part in the design and everything like that, they're pretty much the same. You also have a hole here. Again, I don't know why. To me as a GBB user, I don't want to be taking my magazines apart to then pull that down to feed it from the bottom. They feed perfectly fine from the top, as I showed you. In fact, let me show you again. We can do this without the shells on. And I'm going to show you how easy these magazines filled, because a lot of magazines nowadays, they require adapters. We do adapters. People have been asking when the GMP mag adapters are coming back in stock, and honestly, we've just had that many problems with the GMP mags. It's a case of whether they're still doing it or not. Because I think the problem is with the BB feed tracks. So, large magazine, you can use a normal pistol adapter, and you can fill this buttery smooth from the top. Again, I like how they've done that so it feeds nicely, and on the short one as well, we can show it. Again, They stack nice and straight. It's probably one of the few things I like about these magazines. They're easy to fill up with BBs, and they've got straight BB tracks. I just wish they could get, maybe it's to do with the top. Maybe that's parts they've had to change. I really don't see them getting these two distributors to some degree and then changing it. I imagine they will make adjustments. The other thing actually I wanted to test, which I was told, which was in regards to the weight. I was told that these are steel. They are not steel. Not, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it could be like stainless, but honestly, I just don't see it. So they were telling me that these are all made of steel. The only thing it's attracting to, which they might have the same thing, is the steel screw, which goes through the centre, so you will get some attraction on the screw. But the casing itself, no, which again sparked a debate. I was like, why the hell would they make inner casings out of steel? That makes zero sense. And we had a debate about that, but turns out that's it's not the case. And you're not going to be making them out of stainless, trust me. It makes sense that it's some kind of aluminium of some degree. So I need to get the rounds out of these mags. So why don't we showcase a gun that I haven't shown since I bought it, because again it was another flop of a product, which was the Sekitor Centurion. We'll see if this can empty the mags. Semi's okay. The Sekitor seems to like it. But these guns do have those angry gun nozzles in them, which I'm not a fan of, but it seems to work with this mag, so no, I spoke too soon. We're getting jam ups, we're getting a double feed. Let's take that mag out. Let's try it again. Let's try to do auto. And no. So saying that these mags work. I don't think we loaded a round in there. I think it's still in the mag. So full auto with these mags. Again, it's jammed up again. It's right in the top of the magazine, so it's not. They're not sitting right in the receivers. I think that's what it is. So if I push a bit of forward pressure, it did work, but we're out of gas. We're out of gas. Do I have some green gas I can try? I do have some green gas I can try. Gonna try a bit of standard Puff Dino green gas. Just because. Maybe the magazines don't like propane. So what I'm having to do to get it to fire is I'm having to hold forward pressure like this to slightly lift the follower up, the feed lips up. A lot of gas spit. A lot of gas spit. I might chunk that nozzle up a little bit as well. So yeah, I think the difference is with the feed lip design. But you might not ever see that Sekitor Centurion again. But we bought it and showed it off to you guys, so you know you can make a educated decision. So let's see. So if I lay this 4mm Allen key flat in the gas router, you can see it pretty much almost lines up with the top of the feed lips. If I do it on this one, it sits higher. So there is a geometry difference from the router to the feed lips. So yeah, there you have it. So hopefully I've answered some of your questions. There was a lot of you guys DMing me saying, what magazine should I go for? Just getting the rounds out of this mag. I don't want leaving mags loaded. Let's put it in this little project I've been working on. I can't show it yet, but not quite ready to show off. So, like I say, I hope I'm kind of just like in a world on my own while I'm doing this video. I hope I've helped you out with a little bit more information. Just clearing that TM mag, I don't want to leave it compressed any longer. And yeah, any questions, jump in the Discord, get involved with the debate. But at this moment in time, I'm not buying that these are pre-production mags. I think this is what we're going to get. I will take a bunch of reference photos because apparently they're showing them off at IWA, and I think all that's going to be different with those mags at IWA is they're going to have those casings which have got the slanted lines, which look rubbish. But I'll take a bunch of reference photos of these because I'm not going to take these with me, and I'll just have a look, and we'll probably see a lot of the similarities. So thanks for tuning in as always. Not a super exciting video, but important nonetheless. And like I say, get involved with the Egg Precision community. Link will be down in the description below for the Discord group. And as always, from me and Bench, we'll see you in the next one.